But first, the Democrats are melting down as President Trump has insisted that the GOP brandish something that they have been missing for decades: a backbone. The definition of a successful Republican is one who thwarts the Democrats' dark designs for our people. Those who don't stop Democrats can be considered failures or worse, collaborators. Americans will judge politicians by their actions, not their words. That's my focus in today's preamble. There are many examples of those who wish to stop President Trump in delivering justice for our people. Another judge has just stopped President Trump, this time from opening up the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury testimony. But it's not just the judiciary. As you know, the president has had to fight people in Congress who are allegedly of his own party, as the GOP-controlled House is already seeking another big bill, praise God, one that actually stops the malevolent and irresponsible overspending binge this government has been on for the last 2 decades. Senate Republicans already going wobbly, already losing the will to defend their voters from Democrats. These are the same Senate Republicans who are stopping crucial Trump nominees from being confirmed as the Senate is on vacation, but still not allowing Trump to make recess appointments. Indeed, the Surrender Caucus has been in charge of the Republican Party for more than 20 years. But it goes far beyond surrendering principle, surrendering political battles, or surrendering to Democrat lawlessness. The real sin committed by complicit Republicans has been that they've surrendered you and your family to the most extreme totalitarian and anti-American version of the Democrat Party this nation has ever been cursed with. Case in point, have a look at this. In states where there is a sizable voting bloc of Republicans and a majority of Democrats, the left have gerrymandered their states to ensure GOP voters have no representation in Congress. From states like Massachusetts, where GOP voters make up 36% of the vote, to states like New Hampshire, where the GOP has nearly half the vote, 48%. GOP voters have no representation in Congress because of Democrat gerrymandering. The Surrender Caucus GOP rolled right over and allowed all this to happen. And look at this graphic. In places like socialist-dominated New York, where the GOP voters make up 43% of the electorate, the GOP only has 7 of 26 seats in Congress. That's only 27%. In leftist hellholes like Illinois, where Republicans have 44% of the electorate, the GOP has only 3 of the 17 seats. That's 17% representation, all due to Democrat gerrymandering. Remember, these left-wing states are melting down over Texas, making our state representation more fairly reflect the electorate. On another network, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, claimed her state did follow the rules when confronted with the fact that only 3 years ago, New York's Democrat legislature drew up a map so brazenly contemptuous of basic rules that the state's Democrat-dominated Court of Appeals threw that map out. The New York Times called it comically contorted. So even though a court ruled and a left-wing biased rag called out left-wingers for insanely breaking the rules, Hochul just jumped on national TV and lied, claiming, "We follow the rules." Hey, that's good enough for Republicans like McConnell and Murkowski and Cornyn. But Hochul wasn't the only one of these leftists being called out for whining about Texas giving Democrats a long-deserved taste of their own medicine.
Every major group that grades the fairness of congressional maps gives your state an F. Common Cause, a nonpartisan government watchdog, even says your map, and I'm going to quote, represents a nearly perfect model for everything that can go wrong with redistricting. And I guess the question is, you talk about preserving democracy. How do you preserve democracy if you're using the same tactics that you've criticized Texas Republicans for?
But as I say, what they're talking about is a distraction. The reality is that the violation of people's voting rights is what Texas is attempting to do. That's what's wrong with their efforts right now.
Oh, because Texas wants their congressional representation to be more accurate. After this, the state was shorted 2 congressional seats from a corrupted census, and because Illinois is the most corruptly gerrymandered state, courtesy of the infamous Daley machine. Well, that's just a distraction. No, Mr. Pritzker, it's the point. At least Barack Obama's wingman, the elitist snob Eric Holder, had the guts to say what Democrats really want.
Let me ask you, how can gerrymandering both be a threat to democracy and also the way to save it?
Well, there's no question that gerrymandering is a threat to our democracy. It allows politicians to pick their voters as opposed to citizens choosing their representatives. But we are now in a situation where we find ourselves where authoritarian moves are being made by the White House through various states, Texas most prominent among them. And there has to be a response to that. What I've said is that we have to protect our democracy now if we ultimately want to be able to save it. And so taking the reasonable steps that have been proposed in California, I think it makes a great deal of sense in this moment, a temporary way in which to respond to that which is happening in Texas, with the thought that after this crisis has passed, we get back to the fight against gerrymandering by anybody.
That's right. Democrats want to be the only ones who are gerrymandering, and we're supposed to trust them when they say that once they get rid of all Republican representation, then they're going to stop gerrymandering. In case you're like those surrender caucus Republicans and you believe the word of a Democrat, just listen to the leftist and fake Hispanic Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke.
We're not going to let him stop us. Are you with me on that? Ándale. It also means, as Mark was saying earlier, we don't await the punch thrown by these would-be fascists to land. We punch first, and we punch harder. We want California and New Jersey and Illinois and Maryland and every other state where the Democrats hold the governor's mansion, the assembly, and the state senate to redraw their congressional districts now, not wait for Texas to move first, to maximize Democratic Party advantage. Listen, you may say to yourself, well, those aren't the rules. There are no refs in this game. F the rules. We are going to win whatever it takes. We're going to take this to them in every way that we can.
Beta, they're already doing it. That's right. The Democrats say F the rules, to heck with the Constitution. They play for keeps. You know, most totalitarians do. The cheating, the lawlessness, the violence. It's who and what these left-wing Democrats are. And I don't want my family surrendered to them as bartering chips for some fake Republican out there. On my Truth Social and X accounts, at Chris Salcedo Show and at C Salcedo Show, respectively, I posted a very simple concept and a picture. It's a picture of a knight. You can see it there on your screen. It sums up how I will be approaching government, elections, and the fake political divide in this country. This is the only criteria I'll be using in the primaries. I will judge Republicans based solely on how well they defend me and mine from Democrats. As stated, President Trump needs no prompting to protect us. The president has announced he will defend the nation's capital from Democrats. He will defend the innocent who call Washington, D.C. home. He's invoking the D.C. Home Rule Act to place the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and he's deploying the National Guard to do it. You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.